WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today it's the case. I actually have something from Glenrothes. This is a sherry octave small batch from Duncan Taylor. And this is matured in oak casks, and I actually have the numbers and the names of the cask. And out of those 3 casks, since they're octaves, I get a total of 264 bottles. So this was bottled at 55%, which says on the label, the same label here as also on the tin, that it is the following. It says here, cask strength, yay. It says here, aged 11 years, nice. It says here, exclusively bottled for Germany, Kirsch import, why not? Natural color, bravo. And non-chilled filtered, very, very good. Now, distilled 2009, bottled 2021, perfect. So 11 years of age, no problem. But then it says here, and this is my problem. I have 2 problems here. First one, it says matured in oak cask. We have Glenrothes 2009, Oloroso-Sherry-Octave number 4932583, 4932593, and then 603. So always 10. And I have my doubts that this spent 11 years in those 3 octaves. So the first doubt, of course, is going to be flavor profile and color. And the second doubt is many of the online retailers in Germany write on their websites here that this is a small batch from a finish in octave sherry Oloroso casks. So I have various sources. One source online says that it has a full maturation of 11 years in 3 different octave casks with the numbers blah, 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 blah. And I have different websites that actually say that it is then a finish. Now, for some of you, that might not be important at all. So we can go to Whiskybase 199405. It says Casktypes Oloroso-Sherry-Octaves. It actually gives the cask numbers. We have the number of bottles. We have 55%. We have German exclusives and so on. But it is important. We're trying to get as much transparency as possible on this label. All right? They write Glenrothes 2009. And in the same line, they actually say then the sherry octave Oloroso and then the number. And that implies for me that this has spent 11 years in an octave. But it hasn't. So let's do a little bit of math here real quick. 264 bottles times 0.7 means we have 184.8 liters of liquid that was bottled. And if we divide it by 3, we get a total of each octave cask had 61.6 liters. Now, if you go online, you try to look at what an octave cask is. A quarter cask, according to the Freud, is 125 liters. A quarter cask in America, if you look at them, is 50 liters. So, and an octave would be actually half of the 50 liters, 25? So, but no, usually it's between 45 and 50. So, now we have 62 liters. I really don't know. I have no idea there is no official DIN norm for casks, but I would have hoped to at least have a little bit of information there. Now, if it had been in these 3 octave casks for 11 years, imagine the amount of angel share that would have happened. All right, so I was listening to a stream. I think it's called Still It, the guy down in New Zealand. He's been on the Whiskey Tribe. Great guy, Jamie, I think. He is an awesome source of great information. In New Zealand, it's legal as a private person to distill, not in most other countries of the world, but there it is. And so he shares his YouTube videos about distilling almost anything and everything. And it's very, 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 very cool. And he had this guy on there from 4th generation worker in the bourbon society, bourbon sector, had worked as a cooper, has worked as a distiller. This guy knows his stuff, and he started talking about only casks, and he talked about different types of casks that would be used for different types of things. Imagine you want to have a whiskey that's going to be matured for a very, very long time. He said, hey, make sure that you have the standard, basically 19 stave barrel. But if you want to actually mature it in a very fast time, put it up in the high parts of your rickhouse and try to look for a stave with like 40, a barrel with 40 staves. Much, much thinner staves, which means you have much more also angel share. Apparently, where the staves match, where they butt together, that's the place where actually a little bit more of the evaporation happens there. Did not know that. I did not. I thought most barrels had the same amount of staves, but you can actually order these higher stave barrels. New idea to me. All right. So what am I going to compare it to? I'm going to compare it to something that is even less available in Germany. It's called TNT. It's an independent bottler. T for Thomas, T for Thomas. And they were established 2020. Both of these are independent bottlers in Germany. I work with both of them. One has a whiskey fair called Just Whiskey in Hamburg and an online independent bottler called the Whiskey Warehouse number 8. He's up by Hamburg, and the other Thomas, Tom is down here where I live in Oberhausen, and his independent bottling label is called Ana Na Alba, and I actually use his bonded warehouse for some of my products. So this is a Glenrothes. This is 11 years old, this is 8 years old, and the information on this label is almost the same as this, but it's a little bit more specific. It says here, distilled on the 23rd of May, 2013. It was bottled on the 3rd of November, 2021, non-chilled filter, natural color, matured first in a refill sherry butt, then finished in a first fill muscatel sherry octave cask. This was cask number 6410, number bottles 85. So we have the same figure here, about 63 liters from that octave, 53.9%. This was a seasoned octave. And what we also have here is, I know that this had I think it's a 6 months finish. Now you can take a look at the colors here of these two bottles. I think the camera can pick them up, that they're different, dark, light. And that's also one thing that's speaking against the 11 years of full maturation in that small octave. That surface to liquid ratio is just such an important factor that you cannot ignore it, all right? So this stuff is syrup, liquor, sherry goodness. This is hot pepper spice with a wonderful finish. All right, so Whiskybase 199405. Over here we have Whiskybase number 202570. So as I said, one of 85 bottles. I had, I think, 3 of them. I did a bottle share. It's not a bottle share, it's a cask share. So what Tom did is he just actually bought a barrel of Glenrothes and split it up into these octaves, and then he actually allowed us about 2 or 3 years ago to buy a certificate that guaranteed us a 30th of that. So or it was 15th or whatever it was. And so it depends on the size of the barrel and depends on all these other factors as well. And for my portion, I actually received 3. And there I passed on 2 of these bottles to other people. And this I did a bottle share. And I must admit that is excellent, excellent stuff. Going back now here to our 3 octave sherry, Oloroso-Sherry-Octaves. Now the nose, this is some goodness. This is a little bit of a rum-soaked raisin moment. You have some vanilla going on here. You have a little bit of a wood spice, as if maybe an octave was European oak. I do get a little bit of alcohol in there. Cheers. And a lot of herbalness. This indicates how much heat I'm getting. This indicates how good it is. Actually, I have to start here. And now, the finish is not bad. The finish gets that nice sherry moment. A little bit of that herbalness, a little bit of that raisin, a little bit of the of the brown sugar and the vanillas and the wood going on here. But it's unbelievably hot. I just couldn't believe how hot it was. And then I come over here, we're only at 53.9 instead of 555. So 1.1% ABV lower. This is how whiskey should taste. The alcohol is a light supporting factor, but it's not dominating. There's no yelling, there's no screaming, there's no tum numbingness. It's just good stuff. And on top of all that, you have this magnificent sherry bomb moment. I'm sure there was a lot of sherry left in these casks, and they were small casks. And that did it so much goodness here. This is almost a syrupy thickness, a goodness. I really, really like this. It's almost a shame I didn't keep a bottle just for myself. That's some good stuff. I paid basically 50 euros for these. Over here, we're at 84 euros. Now, this is hot. Even when I go online to Whiskybase 199405, the very first thing they write down here, toffee, alcohol sharpness. The second thing they write down here is punchy, alcohol. The finish is not bad, but it's punchy. And it's what I'm getting here time and time again, that this whiskey, I think it's sat actually in a refill hogshead inactive for 10 plus years. Duncan Taylor somehow got their hands on there, like, what are we going to do with it? Oh, we'll just throw it in some Octaves. And these Octaves would just mix them together, make a small batch, and give it a Germany only title. There are so many things out there. Netherlands only, Belgium only, France only, Austria only, Germany only. And my personal opinion is 4 out of 5 times, don't touch it. It's not worth it. It was not good enough to actually be released in the UK. So they send it overseas. They put a little bit of a polish on the turd and say, hey, it's a Germany exclusive. It's got to be good, right? And that's what this is. All right. So this is something that was a very inactive cask. And now we have, it's not even first fill Octaves here. Here we at least have first fill. Here we don't even have that amount of information. And I must admit, I feel a tiny little bit misinformed when that says here the year and then that octave cask after that, even though I don't think it's true. So, who knows? And since I have varying information online that supports also my theory, I'm just going to stick with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this down. My first video, I did this in German. I deleted down 50%. It was still hot. I'm going to try to take it down to about 45%. All right, so I've added quite a lot of water. Interesting. On the nose, I get a little bit more of a light chocolate, a little bit of hazelnut, and a little bit of Play-Doh, plasticine on the nose. Not nice. I'm down under 45%, and it's still hot. That alcohol burn, that pepper moment is still going on in the background. Now I get a nice chocolatey, vanilla, spicy, herbal, sherry moment towards the end. The finish is with a lot of water, much better. But still the heat of this inactive casks or cask really shines through, unfortunately, and does not make this a pleasurable whiskey at all, in my opinion. This is a, on the palate, a C-, value for money, 84 euros. It's going to get a D. I can get 1.5 of these if I could actually get more of these instead of that. I think my question of the day is, what is your favorite sherry bomb whiskey in cask strength? Is it the Aberlour Abonal? Is it the Glendronach cask strength? Is it the Glengoyne cask strength? Is it Hamdu cask strength? Is it the Aaron Sherry Bothy, I think it's called? There's a couple other wonderful sherry bombs out there. I'm not really sure which one is still my favorite. I think most of the distilleries I just named with their sherry bombs have one after the next disappointed me in the last couple of years. My feeling is that the quality used to be much higher, and now they're putting out fairly young stuff in seasoned sherry syrup casks, and I'm not really that keen on it. This, I am keen. This was fabulous. This, a little bit below average and definitely not worth the money they're asking for. What's really interesting is it came on the market right around Christmas 2021. Christmas is not exactly right in front of us, but it's less than 100 days away. And it's still in a lot of different shops, which means the 264 bottles have not flown off the shelves as expected. So that's also why I'm doing the video. A lot of people have done the bottle share with me and are asking, Jason, what's your opinion? Ta-da! Not worth the money. Do not buy the bottle unless you personally really like it. I cannot recommend it. So what's your recommendation, though, instead for a cask strength sherry bomb from Scotland? What would you say? Like, subscribe, tell others, and share this video if you be so kind. See you soon. Whiskey Jason here. Bye-bye.